Good morning, ladies. Good morning and welcome to KCWC February General Meeting and Speaker Series. I'm delighted to welcome our amazing guest speaker, Rachel Fowler, a former pediatric intensive care nurse turned interior designer, creating sustainable spaces for health and well-being. She will be in conversation with our president, Farzana Sedon.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you.
So today we have this amazing Rachel Fowler, who used to be a pediatric... Sorry? Georgie. Can you hear now? No? Just... Can you hear me now? Better? Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So Rachel used to be a pediatric nurse. In 2016, whilst working in a UK children's intensive care, she completed the diploma in professional interior design before swapping scrubs for a sketch pad and committing herself to full-time studies. On completion of the BA with honors in interior design, Rachel moved to Germany in 2019. Rachel decided to immerse herself further within the design industry, working for an architectural and interior design house in Hamburg. She soon realized that to really be able to unleash her inner passion for design, creativity and promoting clients' well-being, Rachel would only be able to accomplish this by working for herself. So in 2020, Rachel set up her own business in well-being. She wanted to combine health and well-being with healthy living. In 2021, Rachel became a published author with her first book, My Happy Place, Healthy, Sustainable and Human Design for Life and Work. So I have a copy of her book with me, and I have to say that this is an amazing book. I couldn't just put it down, full of very interesting information. And there's a table at the back after the talk. You can have a look at the book, and if you'd like to buy this book, you can also do that after the talk. She has just recently created an eco-friendly, biodegradable and hand-painted wallpaper line, and there will be some samples at the table as well. Rachel's ambition is to become a leader in creating healthy, sustainable and regenerative living and working spaces, promoting the needs of her clients and that of the planet. So Rachel, so shall we begin?
Yeah.
Right, do you think people have enough information or are aware of organic interior products?
No, I don't think so. I think the design world thinks that people have a lot of knowledge, but I don't think people actually do, because to have a product, to design a place sustainably, it's not just, oh, this says it's organic, it's about digging deeper into the product. A lot of products will say that they're sustainable, or they're organic, or they're fair trade, but actually when you start peeling back the layers, there's actually sneaky bits in there, like in certain paints they say we're organic, but actually there's still things that they add into it. In certain products, if it's under a certain amount, they can't add it. I can't hear. Can you hear me now? Can we hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Okay. It's like eating an ice cream, isn't it? So basically, are people aware of sustainable design? I'd probably say no. Interior designers are turning that way to more sustainable products, but it's not just about people will go into a shop or they'll get a designer and they'll say, oh yes, this is sustainable, But actually, when you look deeper into a product and look at its life cycle, it's not sustainable. Some companies are very sneaky because they're not in all products, if it's under a certain amount, you don't have to declare in a product which is in certain paints, and I can't name paints because I'll get into trouble. But yeah, sustainable design is out there. People are more aware of it over the last 2 years with COVID, but it's about implementing it. Are the products, looking at the life cycle of a product from where it came out of the ground, how it's put together, how is it put together, who puts it together, where do you buy it? Now, questions are raised before that, you can't always buy everything in the UK because the UK doesn't have everything. But it's about when you're working with a designer or you're designing your own space, it's about looking at the life cycle of every single product that you buy. So what the main ingredients are, how it's manufactured, where it's come from.
Yeah, that's interesting because when you buy food in the supermarket, then you see the label and you know what's in there. But the designers, the manufacturers of the interior furnitures, they don't have to list the ingredients they use.
Not the main things people are. I mean, you have to be really careful because in the UK, obviously, we still use fire retardant. And fire retardant is basically chemicals, and I know the history how fire retardant came in as well. When we went to unleaded fuel, the big companies like, well, what do we do with all this material? So it went into fire retardants. I always seem to say, when you're designing, to think of it, so if you've got children or if you're past the stage of children, you've got grandchildren, thinking, well, what are you putting on your floor? Because do you know what? It's not just you walk on it. Your children or your pets will touch it. It goes in the mouth. So basically, it's not just airborne, some of the products that can affect you. It's how you can touch them. It can be ingested, and it can be absorbed through the skin. So it's basically a lot of women who are menopausal, you buy nice bed linen thinking it's really great. But what's actually in your bed linen, most people in menopause, they sweat lots. So you're actually absorbing these chemicals through your skin. So, yeah, it's not everybody's, obviously it's not regulated as thoroughly as what other things are in life, but I think it will come to it at some stage.
So when the word organic for interior design, what does it really mean? So what the customers should be looking into?
I briefly touched on it earlier. Basically, organic is looking at the life cycle. I know I keep coming back to this, but if you look at the life cycle of every single product you buy, you'd probably be quite amazed. When you're looking at what materials that go into the product, that can be quite hard. Don't always just go on by what the manufacturer has written on the label, because go back to the supplier, or sometimes if you don't want to buy brand new, sometimes buying second hand can be, the chemicals that come out of it, like in furniture and stuff. If you've got people that have got COPD or asthma, buying furniture that's second hand, it basically, if there's any chemicals on it that have gone off. But when it comes to organic, look at the life cycle of every product. And I do go on about that quite a bit in my book, I do apologise. But it's what's it made of, how is it made, how is it put together, where's it come from, and what happens at the end of the life? Is it just going to go in another landfill? Or can this be recycled? If you're buying furniture, look for furniture that's been screwed rather than stuck with glue, because then at the end of the day, the furniture can then be dismantled and reused, preventing landfills of clogging up with unwanted goods.
And Rachel, fair trade is important to you. And what does fair trade mean?
So fair trade is basically the products are made in a way that communities aren't affected, so the communities aren't being faced with lots of chemicals, the people are getting paid, they're living in good conditions, it's not child labour, and basically it's made in a way that you and I would want to work.
Mm-hmm. And when the logo, the fair trade logo, when the customer's looking into it, so what do they understand, you think?
If you look at the fair trade logo, then it is fair trade. Like I was saying to friends earlier, my wallpaper line, you won't see the fair trade because it's quite a mountain to climb when you're creating a product and taking it to market. I designed the designs. I worked with an artist who painted my sketches. It took 2 years. And then once you've done all that and you've made sure that the person that you're printing it in the UK is using inks and the paper is actually organic, there's no plastics in it, then you come to think, okay, well, how can you show yourself like the fair trade? Actually, when you go to apply to companies for these logo symbols, and you have to prove what's in your product before they will actually give you the logos, but also it comes with a cost. And being a new startup, I can't afford those costs because it goes on the percentage of money that you earn, and also a lot of them start at like £10,000 or £12,000 a year to have their logo. So as a new person, it's quite hard, but I'm very open on my website. If people approach me, I'm quite happy to share the information. When I wrote my book, there was a few companies that refused to give me any information and didn't want me to be in the book, which is a sign that there's something to hide. But the fair trade means that it's not somewhere in Africa where people are getting paid not very much money, and it's slave labour and they're living in awful conditions.
So talking about your wallpaper, tell us about your wallpaper that are biodegradable and how are they different from ordinary wallpapers?
Well, obviously you ladies are aware there's lots of types of different wallpaper, depends what you want. You've got silk wallpaper, you've got grass wallpaper, you've got non-woven wallpaper. So my wallpaper is a non-woven wallpaper. Basically, other types of non-woven wallpapers are ones that you can actually wipe with damp cloths. They actually contain some kind of plastic. That's why it's easy to hang and easy to wipe. But my paper is, well, I think the wallpaper company had a bit of a headache when I first hit them, and I said no plastics, has to be no plastics. I want this to be completely sustainable. So in Germany, they were just coming together to put this wallpaper that is organic and is actually sustainable. There are other companies now that are looking at how to make wallpaper using other materials. There's a company in the UK who are looking at now making wallpaper, the paper from mushrooms, which everything is being made from mushrooms because it's a good sustainable material. So that was kind of like, we got the paper and then it was down to the inks. I was just like, okay, the inks can't be toxic. Children are going to come along, touch the wallpaper. It can't be detrimental to life. And also, at the end, I want to be able to put this material in the ground. So yeah, it was 2 years in the making. The paper is organic. If anybody wants any information on it, I have all the spec from the manufacturer who makes the paper in Germany, and the paper is actually printed by a very high-end printer in Lancashire. And another thing is I don't hold masses of stock. I have 3 rolls of each, and if I have large orders, it's made to order. So it's designed and made basically in the UK. I'm proud of it. It took 2 years. I have to confess, it nearly broke me. I didn't realise how much financially it takes to get a product to market, coming from being used to standing at the end of a bed space trying to keep children alive post-cardiac surgery. It was kind of like, wow, this is a new era in accounting. I'm just like, oh, wow, what's that? Never had to deal with this before. So, yeah, it was a really good journey. I've really enjoyed it. And it actually helped me learn more about what actually is in the products that we put on our walls and in our homes.
Yeah, I was looking into your wallpaper design on your website and I was mesmerized. And where do you get inspiration for your designs?
I love Japan. I love Japanese style. I love the sense of that. For me, Japanese design is organic. It's freedom and it's bringing the outside in. As these days, we spend too much time in our homes, especially as the weather's been so cold. And for me, it gives me a sense of happiness. I don't know, and I feel like the Japanese have quite a calm sense of living. I know in Tokyo it's not; they work crazy hours, but I just feel it's organic. It's just me, and I want a bit of my personality. I'm very laid back as a person. I like surfing, so I wanted to sort of represent me in my outdoors life, and yeah, I just wanted it to be different. If you look at the cranes one, they're quite cheeky. You can't really see it. I have a crane design that we don't have a picture of, but they've actually got they're smoking a French cigarette in their old hand, because I wanted to bring a bit of the old and the new. The children's wallpaper, oh my goodness, you can search and search and search. And it's just like, I was brought up in the area, well, I liked Mary Poppins when I was a little one, 7 years old. So I wanted to design a child's wallpaper that reflected traditional values and that you could actually keep that wallpaper till they get to the age of 15, 12, 13. And actually one of my clients in Edinburgh, they've used the children's wallpaper, which is a safari one, in a library. So I wanted to reflect that, I don't know, bring calmness into people's lives rather than the manic life of looking on your phones and being governed where have I got to be next. And for me, Japanese culture just gives me that.
Yeah, I see like some lovely designs on the screen. Right, so we'd like to move on to another topic which is very, very interesting. Now you are looking into the bigger picture of well-being. Your nursing side will always be with you. At the moment, you are studying naturopathic, nutritional therapist, and enjoying being a well-being coach.
Yeah.
Could you share your experience working with women who need support with their well-being?
I know it sounds like I've done quite a lot in my life, but I'm just like, you hit menopause, don't you? I was thrown into it, unfortunately, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't do my nursing. I want to go back and do my arty side of life. So I went and got my degree in design. I've done that, and I just felt like I didn't feel grounded. I felt like this is really good. I'm working as an interior architect, designed the wallpaper, I've written a book. I'm like, but there's still something missing in my life. And I think, I don't know how many of you worked in the medical profession, but I think once you've worked in a profession where you're helping people, it's ingrained with me. So I did my coaching, and I really enjoyed that, and I focused more on women's well-being, and I set up a menopause cafe in our local area, which I run from Germany with the help of somebody else. And we just had a meeting last Saturday, and it's like your group. I have women, I have speakers come in, doctors and stuff that people can't get to. But the women's well-being is just, it's trying to make women like, do you know what? It doesn't matter who you are, what you are, or where you live. You are great. You're a great person. You can do anything. And something that I think from a nursing too, everybody has skeletons in their closet. And you sit there thinking, oh, look at that person. They look so great. Their life seems so balanced and organised. But actually, they might be in their head thinking, oh my God, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. Life is just so stressful. So it's been really good. I've worked with clients in Canada. I've worked with people in Germany where I'm back and forwards to. And I've worked with people in the UK. And my theme is to balance that all off with the nutritional therapy, which I'm doing with the College of Naturopathic Medicine in London. So to do the whole of the person. So it's not just your living environment, but it's also you as a person, you know, as what you eat, how you are inside, and how to create a space that can actually balance that wellness, the whole of you.
Mm-hmm. So touching on that menopause topic, how women deal with their menopause and what kind of support they need from their friends and family?
Depends what age group I think you are. I've come across, I mean, in the menopause cafe back on the South Coast, we have 80-year-olds range up. I think some people will hide behind it, or they think, I'm losing my marbles, have I got dementia, what's going on? My husband is really irritating me, why is he doing this every time I come in from work? He's just annoying me so much. And it's just coming to think, taking a step back and thinking, what's going on? A lot of women, unfortunately, who hit perimenopause or menopause can actually be put onto antidepressants, not realising, because the GPs aren't used to working with this, even though it's been around for like years and years and years, everyone's life. It's not easy to diagnose. A lot of women want to hide behind it because it's moving on in life, isn't it? When you hit perimenopause and menopause, theoretically your life is now changing. You're going into another era of your life. You know, you can still have children in the menopause, but things change, and you kind of can lose your identity. So it's trying to help women to think, do you know what? You can do anything. You can absolutely do anything. You know, this is not the end of your life. You can still go surfing, or you can still go on that wacky holiday, or be adventurous, or dye your hair pink, or whatever you'd like to do. It's about, you know, and it's not just the mental, there's the physical changes as well that go on with a woman's body, you know, personal stuff down below, like vagina atrophy and stuff like that. Women, your sex life totally changes when you hit menopause. It's not that I'd rather read a book now, thank you very much, than have sex, which is a lot of people think is a taboo subject, and it's about making it open and talking about it. And I actually liaise with a gynecologist back on the South Coast. I've got 2 great GPs, and I do some nutritional advice for women as well, because it's about learning too that when you hit perimenopause and menopause, actually you're at the same risk as cardiovascular disease as a man, you know, and women don't think it. You think, well, I'm indestructible, you know, but and it's maintaining your bones, looking after your bones, and sleeping. Oh my God, that 3 o'clock wake-up call is just like, well, how can I change that? And developing, helping ways for women to live with it. And I like to promote a natural approach. There's a lot of talk about HRT, but HRT doesn't always work for women. And I just think what works for one may not always work for another, but I like to try and say, like, driven more of a natural approach.
Mm. And, you know, I was reading an article a couple of days ago where I've read like 10% women, they leave work because they don't have enough support from their colleagues. So we have to be really open about this topic so that, you know, women have support from their friends and family and colleagues at work.
Yeah, the government have actually brought in new guidelines for women who are going through this time in their life. So it's more supportive out there. Workplaces are changing to support women, but don't put the brakes in and give up life. Oh, that's not just my motto. I'm just like, no, if this is a time to change a job and go do something else, do it. Just don't give up and sit at home and wallow. I'm not a believer in that. I'm like, go out there and grab life and enjoy it and do what you've got to do.
So I'm in my mid-40s, and how do you think women should prepare for menopause, and what are the signs of being pre-menopausal?
Sometimes it can just take you by surprise. But healthy diet, healthy living, start looking after yourself, exercising, eating a healthy diet, looking after your mental well-being. Don't be afraid to speak to friends, because your friend might be going through it, or speaking to your mum, or if you've got grandparents, if you've gone into menopause early, speaking to grandparents and stuff, and just have a good support network.
And there comes your menopausal cafe, which has been greatly successful. So can you tell us a bit more about your menopausal cafe?
We didn't realise, I did all the marketing.
The kind of support the women get,
So I set it up, I did all the marketing and everything, and it's been very successful. The cafe is a mix of people, it's of all classes within the area that we live on the south coast. So it's all, sorry? In Gosport in Hampshire, on the south coast. Basically, we walk 5-minute walk from our house, you can see the Isle of Wight. So, lucky to live on the south coast. Sorry, what was the question again?
The menopausal cafe.
Sorry, yes. Sorry, early start this morning, sorry. So basically, anyone can come. It's the tea, coffee. We do put out chocolate biscuits and fruit, but nobody touches any of it. So we're just kind of like, I think people are afraid. And it's 2 hours the first Saturday of every month. And women just come, but they have a guest speaker who generally organises, a doctor, a herbalist, gynecologist, and everybody that comes and talks, it's all free. Everyone does it for free. And then the women get to interrogate these people at the end after an hour and a half to get the questions answered. And it's just, like I say, it's all free. We're part of a UK national thing, but we're kind of breaking off to our own thing. It seems to be working really well. We have over 50 people turning up now, and it's a really good crowd. Seeing the women from September who are like, oh my goodness me, like rabbits in headlights, to now they're all smiling and they're moving on with their life. Yeah, it's just creating a support network for women out there so that you're not on your own.
And are there many menopausal cafes in England?
Yes, if you look, there's women in Scotland who originally started it, and there's quite a few that are starting up. There's quite a few in London, I think, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so women can go to these cafes and have support from other women and support group. So, is there any other environmental factors that should be considered for women's well-being?
For me, I would say yes. I look at everything I buy. Annoys friends, families. But do you know what? It's what is in your product. What are you wearing? It's just so many chemicals and that are being used or have been used that aren't declared. And it's just looking after yourself means you're looking after the planet. Eating healthy, you know. At the College of Naturopathic Medicine in London, they say if there's more than 5 things in it, don't eat it. So not buying stuff that's wrapped in plastic. If you're storing stuff, store it in glass in the fridge. Foil. We all like tin foil, especially at Christmas when it's a Christmas turkey, wrap it in the foil. But actually foil has got metals that can get into the body system, which can then go across the blood and brain barrier, and is linked to dementia and Alzheimer's. So it's really thinking about everything that you use, both in your home and in what you eat and what you wear. And, you know, it's especially in the part of the book, there's a thing about children's nurseries, and it's just like what your baby spends the first part of their life crawling, or your grandchild on the floor. It's just so important. On carpets have fire retardants and other stones so that it doesn't stain. I mean, in your children or your pets, they're touching their faces, they're touching their mouths. It's just being really aware. And you know what? There's no harm in interrogating somebody that you're buying something from to say, well, what's actually in the products that you're buying, and trying to make that inside environment healthier. And another fact is that a lot of the internal environments within the cities are actually worse than outside.
It just affects the air quality, doesn't it, in your home? The interior design and the carpets and the plasters as well. I was looking at your website. It was very interesting information I saw about the clay plaster.
Oh yes, the clay plaster, yeah. The clay works in, I always get this wrong, the West Country. Clayworks are a brilliant company. It's set up by a husband and wife, and their wall coverings are clay, and it doesn't look like plaster, it looks really, really nice. It's all natural, and as a company, they've expanded really well. They now do projects out in the Middle East and everything, but it's a really great product. And basically, the clay plaster, you put it on the wall, it actually regulates the moisture in the room, and it actually absorbs any chemicals. It absorbs it in the plaster. It's really, really good, and maintaining temperature regulation. It keeps the heat in, and also in the summer, it actually keeps the room cool.
Right. So, okay, so we are open for any questions. Susan? The microphone.
Thank you very much. That was absolutely fascinating. What about paint? On the walls? Sorry, I'm here.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
What about paint?
Yes.
Oh, paint can get me in very much in trouble. Paint is a good one. There are some very well-known brands that are out there on the market that I can't mention the name because I will get in very big trouble. But they actually, when it comes to paint, they actually can add ingredients. If it's, like I said earlier, if it's under a certain amount, they don't have to declare it on the tin. So if you are after a really good paint that says what it is on the tin, and I've actually spoke to the manufacturer of this paint in Germany because, like I say, I live there. It's Edward Böhmer Paints. Edward Böhmer Paints.
How do you spell that?
Edward EDWARD, and Böhmer is BULMER. Sorry. But and there are other paints. There's also earthborne paints. But yeah, they are what they say are on the can. There are some other big companies. I really can't tell it. I'll just get my wrist so slapped. That they aren't what they say they are, and it's very frustrating in the design industry that these paints, the way they market it is greenwashing, and there's so much greenwashing that goes on in the architecture and interior design industry. But yeah, I mean, in the book, back of the book, there's actual list of all suppliers that are what they say they are. I hope that answers your question.
Hello, and thank you very much for your talk. I'm going to go to the other side from paint. How do you feel that alcohol affects the menopause?
Oh, alcohol. Well,
I
it
know
depends-
it's toxic.
It,
like
dep-
paint,
it depends
but-
if it depends if your husband's annoying you that much, really, doesn't it? So, well, alcohol is not a great thing. Alcohol. It's funny. The GP that came to our cafe on Saturday, I think the women were like, well, that's just my life gone now. No alcohol, no sugar, no processed food. What can I turn to? But the way she described it was really good. Alcohol is full of sugar. You're now, in menopause, you're now at increased risk of cardiovascular disease, same as men. So when it comes to cardiovascular disease, we all think, oh my God, keep off the fat. Don't eat fat. That would cause us heart disease, block our arteries. I've learnt this through the College of Naturopathic Medicine. Actually, it's sugar that actually clogs our arteries. I don't know if anyone's doctors here, I do apologise. But actually what happens is that the sugar, it inflames your arteries. And then you have the unhealthy protein, unhealthy cholesterol, which we all need anyway, because the cells in the body, that then sticks to the inflammation in your arteries. And then you have the immune system's like, oh wow, there's something going on here. So they then send the Pac-Man, which are macrophages, which come along and create this fluff. And then more cholesterol comes and more white blood cells come, macrophages come. And then the body's like, oh, hold on a minute, we need to cap this off. So then the epithelium will grow over it, which then causes the blockage in your arteries. So when it comes to alcohol, it's full of sugar. So it's finding something else that you can replace it with. I don't know what else in your life that you would like to do. Yoga or meditation. There's so much yoga and meditation out there. You kind of think, I've had enough of that now. Is there anything else I can do? So.
But do you also think that increases the hot flushes? Is that true?
The thing with alcohol means you won't get. If you wake up in the night, alcohol will affect your night's sleep. And yes, it can increase your hot flushes. Sorry.
No, thank you for the information.
Bearer of bad news. Do apologise.
Does this apply also to zero alcohol drinks? This question of the sugars, or drinking zero alcohol beer, for example, it's less damaging for the health. Apropos of what you just said.
I would probably say that the non-alcoholic wine would probably not be as healthy as drinking something as, I don't know, I'm going to sound really boring here, but like fizzy water with lemon in or lime in. So like they say, you are what you eat, you are what you digest, and you are what you absorb. So I'd probably say try and find a healthy alternative. But I mean, we all have a glass of wine occasionally and a glass of champagne on a celebration. I put my hand up, I like pink champagne. So if someone's having a celebration, I'll have a glass. But it's not just like, oh my God, today was a hard day, I'm going to have some more alcohol here. It's just kind of like getting the right balance. And what works for you as well, obviously, it can increase hot flushes. And drinking alcohol, if you're not sleeping well, alcohol is going to prevent you from a good night's sleep as well.
How do you get the parents to feed their children more correctly in the UK and the US? These young parents are feeding toddlers sugar and cola.
Oh, this is, well, as you know, I was a paediatric intensive care nurse, so I did 3 years at Southampton University training to be a children's nurse. And then now I'm doing my nutrition course. Yes, it's very frustrating because I have nephews and I'm just like, you can't eat it because what they're eating now is ultimately going to affect them when they're in their 20s and 30s. It's about trying to make changes to the parents to try and educate them. Do you know what? This is why are you giving them this? Why can't you substitute this? Stop giving them sweets and stuff and giving them fats. It's really hard from a health promotion point of view because if you go into a hospital, a lot of the dietitians and nurses are not very well sized, so they're kind of trying to promote healthcare, well-being, and they're not actually looking after themselves. But it's actually like adding physical activity, get off your PlayStation, get off your computer, and making alternatives like rice cakes with peanut butter. And that sounds quite boring, but trying to say that sweets are not good and trying to educate them I'm trying not very good at explaining this, but it's really hard because from a children's nursing background, to see, like, and fruit juices, getting them off fruit juices, and try and find healthy alternatives. Make their diets colourful and look, hey, look, the plate contains the rainbow. We've got every single colour of the rainbow on your plate here. You've got red, you've got peppers. Not every child likes vegetables, but trying to find vegetables or trying to make them say, ooh, let's try this. Ooh, I bet you won't like this. Making it fun for them so that they'll try and explore a bit more. I hope that answers your question.
The parents are educated, physicists and lawyers and all, feeding their children cola and candy bars. Shocking.
But you know what? Sometimes it takes to take a look at, like, do you know what are you doing to your child's body? If you eat a lot of sugar and processed food, if you're stressed, you're not going to digest and you're not going to absorb. So you're going to have issues with your indigestion. A lot of children now get stressed going to school, exams and stuff like that. So if you're now feeding them sugar and processed food, there's a chance they're possibly not digesting, absorbing, and you're causing a massive inflammatory response in their body. And saying to the families, do you know what? 70% of your immune system is in your gut. So what you're adding into there, if you're giving them lots of sugar, you're feeding your gut bad substances, and it's going to cause more inflammation, and it's not promoting their health and well-being. So I hope that answers it. It's
Rachel, I just wanted to flick back to your lovely hand. So you've designed these, and then are they hand printed, did you say?
So basically, I did all the sketching, and then I had an artist who painted my sketches. And then basically they are hand painted, but they're printed off by a machine up in Lancashire. But
and have you thought of doing lampshades?
I have done.
Because these would just look amazing.
That I have
That's
done.
the zebra and the cheetah.
I would like to, but financially, at the moment it's on the wallpaper. So I've funded everything myself, and it's like, okay, I need to start putting back into my business now.
Just before you go, I must show you a photograph I took, because I've just come back from holiday, and in the toilets of the ladies' bistro was this most amazing lampshade that was all made of driftwood.
Okay.
So for your sustainability, I just thought I'd show you that later.
No, that'd be brilliant, thank you.
Hi. Is it working? Yeah. I just wanted you to repeat, if you don't mind. You mentioned something about tin foil.
Oh, foil.
Is that toxic?
It's not toxic. The thing with foil is that foil, if you wrap things in foil, there's metals in it which can then go into the food. So basically, this research has shown that this can cross the blood-brain barrier, and the metals going across in the blood-brain barrier have been linked to dementia and Alzheimer's. So it's trying to use materials that haven't got any metals in, so to prevent, obviously, dementia and Alzheimer's. So there's lots of stuff. A lot of the products we've been using for years and years and years are just, the research that's now coming out actually is quite shocking.
And what would be an alternative to tin foil?
Basically, you could, for jacket potatoes, you can cover them in extra virgin olive oil. For your meat, don't cover them. Or if you've got a glass dish, use a glass dish.
So I was complimenting you on the book you put together. It is very thorough of resources. I know people were asking the questions on the house and the things around them, and I was very impressed in what you put together in the book. So thank you for that work.
Thank you. That was, the book was, I just wanted to be able to reach out to everybody, because not everybody can afford to have an interior designer or have the information. As a nurse, there's no way I could afford to have an architect or someone to give me that information. So I think it was the first lockdown, and how can I get this out to more people? So I just Googled how to write a book. I have dyslexia, and I did it all on my own. I just wrote the book, and then someone I was working with who's helped me with my marketing, she said, contact this publishing house. So I did, and she said, I don't think you're our kind of thing. And I'm like, what? So you don't like well-being? You don't want people to live healthily? And she said, send me your manuscript. So I did, and it got published. Yeah, it went live. And like I said, I wrote it and did it on myself.
In one of the last chapters of your book has got the nursery design I was reading. So it will be very helpful for any new mom or grandparents to have information before they design the nursery, for a newborn.
Yeah, I think it's amazing, isn't it? When you've got a baby or a grandchild on the way, you just want to make it perfect and make it so lavish. But actually, do you need to actually really use new furniture? Can you recycle a chest of drawers? We've got to have this fantastic baby change. Well, actually, in a year's time, that baby change is not going to become no more unless you've got a mummy's group or somebody likes it. Use an old chest of drawers, antique chest of drawers, and that will then live with that child until they go to university or move out. Using wardrobe, not buy a baby's or children's wardrobe, but buy a wardrobe that can go through with that child. Think about the cot or the bed or the cot bed. Well, what paint has been used to cover that? What varnish has been used? Your child's going to put their mouth around this and on the floor coverings. And it's just, and light socket, having fairy lights dangling. Well, research in Australia shows that children hang themselves on them. They get it caught around the head. So hanging fairy lights around a crib is a massive no-no. It's just trying to make it as eco-friendly and as healthy for your grandchild or child.
More questions?
Can I just ask, going back to food wrapping, how about cling film?
Oh, cling film's plastic. Cling film is just, it's really hard, isn't it? They say that you had the Iron Age and the Stone Age. They call this age the Plastic Age. So cling film is really got nasty plastics in. They say if you want to cover stuff or put stuff in the fridge, use glass containers, or you can get like a beeswax paper.
Oh, like the one you use for cooking?
Yes.
Right, okay. That's okay. That doesn't have any...
You have to make sure, because some of the greaseproof paper is probably what you're referring to. That might be lined with something, but there are products, if you Google it, you can actually find paper that's a beeswax that hasn't got any chemicals in.
More questions?
Yes, I have one. Have you heard of infrared wallpaper? A friend of mine last night told me about it, and it's supposed to actually, it's a kind of insulating wallpaper, so it will cut down on your energy costs. Have you heard of that? And is that sustainable?
I have heard about it. Actually, it was at the London Design Festival last year. I've not richly looked into it specifically, but if it's infrared, or just like at the end of it, at the end of its lifetime, where will it go?
I don't know. I thought maybe you could tell me.
So I must admit, I've just been like, I always kind of, with things like that, I always kind of like, well, what's actually in that material, and at the end of its life, where can it go?
Okay, all right. I only found out about it last night from a friend of mine who's into sustainability herself, and she's actually building. She bought an electricity substation in a few years ago in Abbey Wood, and she's converting it into a house, I think a one-bedroom house, and she's doing everything herself and looking up on YouTube, and she's now discovered about this infrared wallpaper. So I just wondered whether, is this sustainable or not?
But I haven't really looked into that so much. I've been so busy with my own work and stuff, and looking at other things. But I would just be really cautious of what's in it, and I'd be going back to the manufacturer saying, well, actually, what is making it? Why is this? And at the moment, a lot of the wallpaper that's sustainable is you have to treat it like a silk on the wall, because it can mark easily. It's not, you can't use it in a bathroom as well, because obviously the material, but things are developing. But my main concern is what's actually in it, and what at the end of its life, what's it going to do? If she decides to change her wallpaper, can she dig it into the ground? And also, it depends what you're going to hang the wallpaper. It's okay having a sustainable wallpaper. There's only 2 companies in the UK that actually produce wallpaper paste that is environmentally friendly. The others one's German, which is Oro, and the other one is Earthborn Paints. They are the only 2 manufacturers I know currently that actually produce a wallpaper paste that you can actually put on the wall and with the wallpaper go in the ground afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Just talking about the wallpapers, if our members would like to buy your wallpapers, where they can find them. Is it on your website or somewhere else?
Yeah, my wallpapers are available on my website. I have several stockists around the home counties. I also have a stockist, I don't know if anyone's from Scotland, in Scotland, and I have stockists in Singapore.
Can you share your website, please?
I have, it's www.rachelfowlerinteriors.com.
Hi, Rachel.
Oh, sorry.
This ties into menopause as well as sustainability. You were talking about sheets, and we all have our hot flashes at night and sweating. So is there a particular fabric that you suggest, or is it just what goes into that fabric? Cotton, linen, bamboo?
I would recommend linen's a good fabric because it helps you breathe. Also cotton. But obviously the thing with cotton is that when you're buying materials for your bedding, what's the dye? What dye have they used to make it pink or blue? Have they used any bleach in it? Because sometimes they put bleach in it. Also, stay away from anything that says doesn't need iron. No iron. You can take it out of the washing machine and put it back on. If it doesn't need to be iron, they've put a chemical in there so you don't have to iron it. For me, linen, and I always look at cotton. In the book, there's a couple of companies in there that I've mentioned. And one of the guys, he's quite off the wall actually, he's really nice. And I can't remember what it's called, the bedding's called, but that's in the book. It's just really thinking about, well, what dye have they used, and sometimes buying a cheaper option is not the best option. And obviously anything that says sustainable or organic on is going to cost more money. But yeah, it's healthier for you. Like I say, when you're in menopause, you sweat, even if not in menopause, you still sometimes sweat in the summer. Your body's absorbing it. There's a study that there's Cotton Soft mattresses in Exeter. They provide mattresses which are for vegans and are chemical free. And he was saying that they did a study, I think it was in Canada, and it was showing that the chemicals that are used in beddings and mattresses is a link to breast cancer. So it's just being totally aware about what you're buying and what's in that product. That mattress company are in the book too, and I've got a friend that's used their mattresses and they're all fine. But when you see like the Emma mattresses, the foam mattresses, foam are made of chemicals, so you're sweating at night and you're absorbing. I hope that answered your question.
Any more questions?
Thank you so much, Rachel. My mother was a nurse as well, so constantly battle with disinfect. So I think I chat with Claudia about cleaning product. I remember that time we're using Mether. Any cleaning product you can recommend? Washing our laundries. Also, people who suffered allergy, I don't know, somehow there people, I don't know, ladies maybe suffer allergy reactions. So what you suggest with allergy?
Is this for just anything interiors or health just in general?
I just health in general, allergy. Sometimes I just suffer allergy. I don't know somehow. So I do carry pills in my bag and stuff. And also disinfect any things
a really good thing for cleaning, and this is going back years and years. My grandmother would love it. It's basically for cleaning windows and surfaces is white vinegar. White vinegar is just my gran would sit here thinking, well, I was using that 50 years ago. White vinegar, it's natural. You might not be able to get it in your big DIY stores, but you can get it in little hardware shops. Is white vinegar. And it's using natural products. You can look online, bicarbonate of soda. You can use that, mix that with water, and you can clean your fridge out and stuff. It's using products it's going back to 50 years ago, using products before these chemicals came out. For washing your clothes, Ecover, which is ECOVER, they do a liquid, and then you can generally take it to a refill centre and you can get that refilled. Or they actually do capsules that you can put in your washing machine that have got no plastic in. So Ecover are really good. But like I use white vinegar spray, cleans my worktops, I clean mirrors. It smells a bit funky, but there's no chemicals there.
Any more questions?
Oh,
sorry, you wanted to see? Oh.
Going back to food, can you talk something about forever chemicals in food packaging?
What chemicals? Sorry, chemicals in food packaging.
Yes, the plastic lining in various
Yeah,
food
so
packaging.
the best way to buy products is go to a butcher's, an organic butcher's, and ask them not to wrap it in plastic. It's really hard because everything comes in plastic. When you go to the supermarket, don't buy anything in plastic bag, buy it loose. And I always take brown paper bags with me and reuse them. You can actually buy bags that have got look like old string vests that you can put them. You can put fruit and veg in that, and it's really hard because once you start buying stuff that's in plastic, sometimes it has other things added to it. When you're buying, I don't know, honey. Honey's another one because I love honey, and until I started my course, a lot of the honey that you buy in the supermarket has actually got what might be from several different types of hives. And they heat it so much that all the natural products that really you think are in the honey aren't actually in the honey anymore. So if you love honey and you know anybody that's got beehives, buy your honey from the bee people that have beehives. Buy it in glass, and then the glass can be recycled. But basically it's moving away from anything in plastic. I know it's really hard because the supermarkets, in Germany, in Hamburg where we live, they have a refill centre, so you can get refill on basically anything, washing powder, cereal, everything. And I know there are some places in the UK, and you just take a jar, a glass jar with you, and you fill it up. It's just basically trying to move away from we've been living with for the last 20 years.
Maybe we have time for one more question.
I have one, actually.
Yeah.
Rachel, thank you. That was really interesting, everything you said. Can you give us your 3 top tips that we could all go home and do to our environments that would help our well-being?
Okay. 1, I haven't really talked about this. Lighting. Oh my God. When you go into some places and it's like Blackpool illuminations, you're just like, this gives me a headache. So, lighting. When you're lighting a place, think about what that space is going to be used for. Is it going to be used for dining? Is it going to be used for a workstation or a kitchen? Or is it your lounge? So take, for example, your lounge. Okay, you could have a nice light in a chandelier in the ceiling. Literally put it on a dimmer switch so it dims. Have some table lamps. Then you've got a layered lighting and a few table lamps. Because basically, when you're creating lighting in a room, you want to create a layered lighting design. You don't want it all at one level. So, like in here, with the spotlights, this will be classed as one level. So when you're lighting a place, include layered lighting. So basically, you've got a mixture of lighting, and you're setting the tone of that light into the space that you're wanting to. Like you go into a restaurant and there's bright lights. Well, that's not going to help you digest. It's just going to make your body feel stressed. If you're creating lighting for your dining room, if you've got a chandelier or you've got a central light over your dining room table, put it on a dimmer and dim it. If you can put wall lights in a hallway. Everyone seems to think you need to have lights. Another really good tip is you can get wall lights just above your skirting board, which at night time you can just have them on. So if you've got children or grandchildren staying, you don't have to have all the lights on. You can just have these wall lights on, and they can still see where they're going and not be scared of the dark. So lighting is a massive thing to make it a layered lighting effect. Number 2, obviously, life cycle. Look at the life cycle of all the materials that are in your house. Where's it come from? How's it made? And where's it going to go when you're finished with it? And number 3 is letting the outside in. Bring some greenery into your home. Bring plants in. Plants help you breathe. They get rid of the crap in the air, basically. They get rid of the CO2. Bring plants in. There is so much benefit. It's not just for getting rid of the toxins in the environment, but plants can actually help with your mood and your mental well-being. And if you really, really want to ground yourself in a day, take a walk outside and walk barefoot on grass, because it's amazing what it can do for you. So layered lighting, create a layered lighting effect in your homes or your workplaces. 2, check the life cycle of everything you're buying. This could be for your home, for your food, everything, for your hair, whatever, products, makeup, etc. And 3 is bring the outside in. Bring the biophilia back into the house. Open your windows, let the sunlight in, and bring that greenery in to promote your well-being.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I'm definitely going to go home and look into these 3 points. Rachel Fowler, thank you. Thank you. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And as a token of gratitude, I present you with a 1-year complimentary membership of our club.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Before you go away, I have a few announcements. Our next general meeting will be on the 9th of March, and we will have Pamela Scriven, QC, as our guest speaker. She is renowned in the field of children's law. Ms. Scriven has advocated in this emotionally charged area in cases involving complex allegations, be they child abduction, abuse, adoption, and family disputes. So please join us next month as we explore her challenging and accomplished career arguing as a barrister in some of the most fractious and complicated legal cases. And then on the 16th of March, we have new members coffee morning. It will be held at the Royal Thames Yacht Club. This is a by invitation only event. So if you are a new member, you have joined KCWC in the last 4 months or so, please look out for an email invitation from our marketing team early next week. You'll be required to register for this event on our website. And we've been receiving emails from members that they have not been receiving reminders to renew their membership. Please note that we have changed our membership renewal reminder emails to be sent the day after your membership has expired, and then 1 week, and again 3 weeks later. We are no longer sending this out 3 or 6 weeks in advance. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to the membership team on members@kcwc.org.uk. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And Julie, our activity leader liaison, will be announcing some activities. Yeah.
First of all, foodies, Claudia and Maria are having a vegan talk by Saju Shulman, and it's a talk on veganism, and followed by Saju actually making a vegan lunch. She's preparing it on Wednesday, 29 March at 12 o'clock. The tickets are £28 for members, and the details are on the website. The Spanish Conversation Group are also doing a tour of Westminster Abbey on Friday the 3rd of March at 10:30 a.m. This is a talk with a Blue Badge guide who will cover the art, history and ceremonies of Westminster Abbey. And this is a chance to get into the Abbey before it actually closes to the public in preparation for the King's coronation. The group will visit the Diamond Jubilee rooms upstairs, which gives you a beautiful view of the church. Now, the tickets are £18, and it covers the entrance on the day. All level of Spanish speakers are welcome, and guests are welcome as well. Bark in the Park are walking in Hyde Park tomorrow morning. The weather is beautiful. We have a lovely group of women walking dogs So even if you don't have a dog, please come along, because some people have 2 dogs and are willing to share. We usually do Hyde Park, Kensington Gardens, and enjoy a coffee and a chat afterwards. So if you can't make tomorrow morning at 10:30 in Kensington Gardens, Jan is also organising one on the 23rd of February and the 1st of March. Dancing Together, their next class is on Thursday, 23 February at 10:15 a.m. This is a drop-in class for anyone who enjoys a little bit of Latin dancing. They dance with a professional dancer who takes you through a favourite dance genres. The cost is £17 and there's still a few paces left. Before I hand you over to Barbara regarding Passion for Fashion, I'm just going to give the microphone to Lisa regarding the Mix and Mingle coffee mornings.
Hi, as you may be aware, we're trying to increase the amount of coffee mornings for the club, particularly with the new members coming in, because they used to be just monthly. So if you go on the website now, you'll see we're trying to do the first Tuesday in every month at the same location, but it is still a pre-sign-up. And then if you see it's full, then email me on my personal email address and I can put you on the wait list, and I'll ask you for your mobile number so I can let you know. So we're going for the Kensington Quarter, so it's very easy from Kensington High Street, and they can take about 25 of us. So if you go on the website, around about the first Tuesday in each month through to June, we will be meeting there. And then I'm going to try and find somewhere around about the 3rd Thursday in each month for a different location. So March and April will be coming on the website soon. I've just got to finalise the 2 locations and the dates. And then Natalia and Elisabetta are going to do afternoons. So you'll get something twice in the morning and twice in the afternoon per month. So it goes from 1 to 4 now. So hopefully there's more opportunity for you to meet other members. And I think that's it. Yes, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hi. I'm Barbara Welch. I'm Passion for Fashion Activity, as well as yoga. I'm going to plug yoga. We do yoga twice a week online, if anybody's interested. So I have a new activity coming up. London Fashion Week is next week. Yeah, 13th to the 17th. And so I have something on the 17th. It's the Victoria and Albert Museum. It's the talk with, now I'm going to butcher her name. It's Omoyemi Akareli. Miss Akareli is a lawyer by trade, but she started up the Lagos Fashion Week, which is now one of the eminent African fashion weeks. They have over 60 designers every October for 4 days, and 12,000 people go annually. She's also very interested in sustainable design, and she started up a couple of different associations. One's Woven Threads, can't remember the other one, but she'll tell you. She is she's very active with EV&A actually, and MoMA in New York. So it's an hour talk at Victoria and Albert Museum next Friday, February 17th, 6:30 to 7:30, and then there's a little cocktail reception afterwards. So if anyone's interested, it is on the website now. It's £22.
So please have a look at Rachel's books and sample of her wallpapers at the back of the room. Thank you very much. Thank you.